Hi, this is Taos Talks Astrology with Kenny Astrodude and Ann. And taking a peek at this summer, there's so much going on, especially in this country, in America now. And I thought I would just first review the basic character of our country by looking at our birth chart. Countries have birth charts. We were established on July 4th, 1776. And what's been so especially interesting during this revolutionary time that we're in right now is that Pluto, which is a slow-moving planet that takes about 223 years or so to make a full orbit through the zodiac, is and has been back in the sign of Capricorn, which is where it was when our country was formulated. That Pluto is a very major planetary influence. It's slow-moving, but represents a whole generation of consciousness. With Pluto exactly where it was during the American Revolution, we are indeed in a revolution again. That it is a time where our very intrinsic values as a country, our Constitution, our sense of freedom and independence, everything that we hold dear as Americans is being greatly questioned, and where under the circumstances of this very divided time where we can find ourselves stripped of our American freedoms. It's a very dangerous time. And that there's a lot more going on too, but just to point out that America is a Cancer country, a Cancerian, which is a water sign. Cancer is a very nurturing, motherly sign. The three water signs, Pisces, Scorpio, and Cancer, are the water signs, and they're the nurturers, the healers. Cancer is the mama of the zodiac, and America has always been very protective and generous to the world. We rebuilt Europe after World War I, after World War II. We have always been there for everyone. Plus, we have Jupiter and Venus in Cancer as well. We have triple energy in this watery sign. And Cancer is all about family and home and nationalism. And America is proud of their national heritage and background. But we have always been an extremely generous country. Now, the moon position in America's chart, and the moon is our emotional temperament, is in the sign of Aquarius. And Aquarius is cutting edge, is innovative, revolutionary, and high-tech, and America has led the way in terms of all of the progressive technologies in the world. The whole world has been changed and transformed because of the brilliance and innovative mindset of the American people, which can only really happen in a culture where freedom of thought and ideas is promoted. The sign of Aquarius is also about individuality, the respect of our individual, inalienable rights, that we have the right to that. And we have always have been behind the idea of individuality, that we can be individuals within the whole of a collective environment. The rising sign, which is how we express ourselves to the outer world, is in Sagittarius, which is a fiery, energetic sign. Sagittarius is about freedom, and very much about freedom and travel, and Americans are very well-traveled people. We also really put a lot of stock into sports, into athletics. We're also a very physical country, very athletic, but on the move, on the go, and very philosophical. Americans are philosophical and big-hearted and generous, as Sagittarius is. But aside from Pluto now in Capricorn, sitting where it was during the American Revolution, which is where our fate as a country, a culture, is really right teetering on the edge of change, as it was in 1776. But what's also very fascinating is that the planet Saturn in the heavens, which has been dubbed the taskmaster, which is about our sense of duty and responsibility and commitment as individuals, but also as a country, is sitting in the sign of Aquarius now. It's a 28-year cycle, hasn't been here since 92, and coming right up to our moon position. And this is going to be exact as we get into late June, July, August of next year, 2022. That's going to be a particularly intense time of transition. But what this means is that we're at this point where we as a people are on the threshold of either our demise or a rebirth as a people, as a country. Now, in the American chart, Saturn, the taskmaster, is in the sign of Libra. which is an air sign. The air signs are Aquarius, Libra, Gemini, and Libra is about being fair. And we are very fair as a people, and then the fact that our Bill of Rights and Constitution are about protecting the rights of the American people is very impressive. So that this summer, then, where we are now, Saturn in the heavens, which, as I say, is going to be particularly pivotal next year, is now in what's called the Grand Trine. This is an extremely benign configuration. It's 120 degrees from where Saturn is presently positioned in Aquarius to our country's natal position of Saturn, which is in Libra. So, in other words, Saturn in the heavens is in a harmonious energetic relationship to Saturn in our American birth chart, and also to Mars in our American birth chart, and Uranus in our American birth charts, which we have in the sign of Gemini. So, in other words, despite this period of upheaval and change and revolution, which is unquestionable, that we are yet very protected from underneath, that despite all of the havoc going on, that there's an underlying current of protection that is going to help this country get through this long, hot summer.
Well, Ken, you're right. It is starting to be a really hot summer with everything that is coming out. Kamala Harris has been in the news a lot lately. What exactly does her chart say for this summer?
Well, Kamala Harris is a Libra, which is a sign that's all about diplomacy. She was born on the full moon, and her emotional personality is opposing to her soul personality. Libra and Aries are opposite. Those are the signs that bring in the equinoxes, but they're very initiating and are cardinal signs, and so they're energetic and tend to be very initiating. Aries is very assertive and very driven, and Libra tends to understand or get involved in politics or mediation. Many attorneys are Libra people, but Mars in her chart, her drive, her ego, her initiative, men are from Mars, women from Venus, is in Leo. And Mars-Leo people tend to be very driven in life. They tend to have incredible ambition, and yet is opposing to Saturn in her birth chart. And so there's a balancing act that she's perpetually living with around the integrity of her higher Aquarian Saturn, which is about genuine concern around the collective humanity, and yet the Leo lust and desire for power. Again, there's a great desire for power and authority with Mars-Leo people. And Libra women tend to be very strong, which I admire. And so an iron fist and a velvet glove is often what a Libra woman would be referred to. But a Gemini rising, so she's all about being out there and communicating. Gemini is very much about having some communication forum in life. But in any event, Saturn in the heavens is, through this summer period now, opposing to her Mars position. It's not exact and won't be until next year, but nonetheless is very much influencing her at this time. And through the summer, I think she's feeling very blocked, constricted. Things are just not moving in her direction. And this could even, in some way, intimate health issues, or where she could just feel low energy, fatigued. Unlikely, too, where there could be some issues coming up with her partner in life. But this is a particularly challenging configuration she's experiencing right now, and I think she's likely feeling rather disempowered.
Ken, I think we should check out the other side of the spectrum now with somebody like Rand Paul. I think that would be totally opposite.
Well, Rand Paul and Kamala are similar in some ways, interestingly enough. That Kamala has her ascendant, her outer personality in Gemini, which is a communicator, and Rand Paul has his moon position, his emotional personality in this sign. So he's also very articulate. But he is a Capricorn sun sign, and Capricorn is grounded and practical, and so that he tends to be very pragmatic and matter-of-fact about things, which is classically Capricorn in his character. But he is yet quite a communicator with that Gemini moon, But he, like Kamala, also has the planet Saturn in Aquarius, which is where it was when they were born. They were born within about 6 months of each other, about a year of each other, actually. But that they both have this Saturn position. Saturn spends about 3 years in one sign. And this is where Saturn is now, so that they're both approaching Kamala not till next year. And around Paul now, as I speak, his Saturn returned. This is a very significant time. It happens in our late 20s. It's happening now. And so he's at a very major transition, but which is essentially positive. He has in his chart Saturn in a very benign connection to who he is and his emotionality. He's a person who's very articulate when it comes to communicating his ideology and philosophy. But he is also with Mars, his drive, his ego, his sense of ambition in Leo, just as Kamala has. And by the way, Donald Trump as well. Isn't that interesting? There's a very strong, driven personality with Mars in Leo, and so he is experiencing an opposition from Saturn to his Mars as well. And so he's been, I believe, hit with a lot of resistance from the media and in general society at large. He's been, I think he had some attacks that occurred to him over the past year, I think I heard. So he too is kind of being very tested right now. They're both being very tested, Kamala and Rand Paul, but he is a grounded Capricorn. So he's been very tested in many ways over this past year, but things are easing up now through the summer. I think he'll be fine. And as Saturn moves forward, as we move into the new year, we'll be completely done with this very intense Saturn return period and Saturn opposition, Mars, because it is a time where one can feel very threatened, in fact. So on that note, this is Ann and Kenny Astrodude signing off. Until next time, happy 4th of July. Many blessings.